Hey MS gang, welcome back to the channel for another fun-filled MS video. If you are new to the channel, my name's Liam, and in 2018 I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS. If you want to be part of the gang, it's really simple, just hit that subscribe button. In this video, I want to talk a little bit more about how MS affects the body. If you are new to the channel, or if you are newly diagnosed and you want to find out a little bit more, in this video we're going to talk about some of the ways in which MS affects the body. So what is multiple sclerosis? Well, it's an autoimmune disease that affects the central nervous system, and it can cause a variety of different symptoms that affect different people, and those symptoms can also have sort of like a range in severity. They can be more severe to some people than others. There can be an array of different symptoms that can range from physical, mental, as well as emotional symptoms. The exact cause of MS is still unknown, but it's believed to be a combination of factors, including environmental, genetic, as well as immunological influence. Or rather, it's impacted by how your immune system works. So factors relating to your immune system, and we know that whilst the immune system can be an influence to it, it can also be affected by the MS itself as well. MS affects the body in many ways, and it can cause a range of physical symptoms that can vary in severity and impact daily life. Common physical symptoms include muscle weakness, fatigue, difficulty walking, numbness and tingling, as well as vision problems. People with MS may also experience a range of cognitive symptoms such as forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating and confusion. Additionally, MS can cause a range of emotional symptoms such as depression, anxiety and mood swings. The most common physical symptom when it comes to MS is muscle weakness, and this is because MS damages the myelin sheath over your nerves. And I always refer to this as like an exposed wire analogy. So if you think you've got a plug and it's got that plastic coating over the wires, if that becomes damaged, the plug starts to not work properly or starts to spark or whatever it might be. And it's the same with our central nervous system. Our nerves are coated with something called myelin, or the myelin sheath, and MS is caused when our own immune system attacks that myelin thinking it shouldn't be there, and that's what causes these lesions. And so the most common result of that is the muscle weakness, as well as things like your fatigue, so a mental reaction to the physical issues, as well as a mental reaction where just dealing with your day-to-day life and trying to do the things you normally do can result in really sort of difficult fatigue. It can be really extreme in a lot of cases. I suffer with fatigue quite a lot, and I know a lot of people I've spoken to do as well. And it can range from feeling quite tired and things sort of becoming a little bit more difficult to being unable to get out of bed, or even paralysis. You can be wheelchair bound or have difficulty with your mobility. These physical symptoms can also be coupled with a lot of numbness and tingling in your limbs and your extremities. So I had a numb left hand when I first started my sort of MS diagnosis. It was one of my early sort of signs, and quite a common one, I think, as well. Mistakenly diagnosed as carpal tunnel syndrome at first, before I then went on to develop vision problems. Again, a really common symptom. Mine is often stress or heat related. So if I have a hot bath, or I'm under a lot of stress, or finding things difficult, then that can affect my vision as well as my fatigue. As well as blurred or dimmed vision, it can affect people in other ways. If you are susceptible or have history of nearsightedness, then there's a video you can watch up here that talks through why you should get that looked at. But yeah, it can affect people in a range of different ways, from mild to severe, and can even lead to blindness. Because these symptoms can vary, it can have a varied impact on your day-to-day life. Some people with MS seem to be able to live a relatively normal life, whereas other people really struggle with the basic things in life, like taking care of themselves, hygiene, eating the right foods, getting out and about, and become quite isolated, and that again affects your mental health. So a lot of the symptoms can influence each other and can affect people in different ways. If you are displaying any symptoms of MS and you think you might have MS, then it's really important that you start that diagnosis process. Speak to your health professional, speak to your doctors, and try and discuss those symptoms and work towards some kind of treatment plan from diagnosis, or find out it might not be MS, it might be something else, and that's great, because there are lots of symptoms in MS that can be presented in other conditions as well. So really important that you don't put it off. A diagnosis ultimately is a good thing, because it starts you on that journey of treatment, and with treatment, with the right support, it can be possible for people, even with really severe symptoms, to lead a relatively normal life. So I think intervention as soon as possible is really important. Whether that is things like taking tablets and medical stuff, that is an official medical term, or whether it's looking at your diet, looking at exercise, looking at your mental health. For me, I think it's a combination of all of those things, but it's important to recognize, like what we discussed earlier in the video, that it's not the same for everybody. So you need to sort of start that plan as soon as possible and go from there. If you are newly diagnosed and you are experiencing some symptoms, let us know in the comments. There may be some people in here that may be able to support you or help you with that. Likewise, if you're a regular on the channel or you've had MS for a while and you experience some things different, or you have any stories or advice for anyone looking in the comments, then please drop it below, because you may be able to help me and you may be able to help someone else with their journey. And if you're struggling, let us know. We're a big gang, we're a big support, and we're growing all the time. So thank you so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. I really appreciate that. If you didn't enjoy it, then hit the dislike button. That's absolutely fine. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.